world obsessed with trends, Yohji Yamamoto carved his own path, rejecting tradition, redefining beauty, and influencing fashion for over 50 years. But how did he get here and how did his work stand the test of time? Born in Tokyo in 1943, he grew up watching his mother, a seamstress, work tirelessly to provide for them as his father died in the war. And this early exposure to craftsmanship and struggle shaped his approach to clothing, not as decorative, but as armor. Instead of following the trends of the time, flashy colors and tight silhouettes, Yohji rebelled, and his vision was anti-fashion. Oversized tailoring, unfinished hems, and almost a religious devotion to the color black. In 1972, Yohji launched Wise, his first brand, which was focused on androgynous, work-inspired women's wear. But Japan wasn't enough, he had his sights on Paris. His models looked like warriors draped in oversized, asymmetrical, deconstructed silhouettes. Some critics called it post-atomic fashion, but that didn't faze Yohji. Over the years, Yohji redefined his signature with fluid yet structured silhouettes, maintained the heavy usage of black, which symbolizes timelessness and rebellion, deconstructed garments that challenged the idea of perfection, and menswear-inspired cuts for women decades before gender fluid fashion was mainstream.
First of all, I always loved the Japanese designers.
But Yohji's rise wasn't just his doing. Irene Silvani, a former fashion director for French Vogue, was introduced to Yohji through Industry Connects, and she immediately saw his genius when the fashion world wasn't ready for it. As Yohji's creative director, she shaped his image, pushing cinematic black and white campaign, raw storytelling, and a poetic approach to branding. And while Yohji focused on the clothes, together they built a fashion house like no other. But even legends struggled. Yohji's commitment to artisanal craftsmanship and high-quality materials came at a cost, literally. His production process was slow, expensive, and deeply personal. By the early 2000s, the fashion industry was shifting. Unlike trend-driven brands, Yohji refused to cut corners, keeping his manufacturing in France and Japan, where material costs and wages were high. Fast fashion was on the rise and luxury brands started prioritizing mass production to increase profits. But Yohji stayed true to his craft. His garments were meant to last a lifetime and not a season. But that made it harder for him to compete financially. Then the 2008 financial crisis hit. As luxury spending declined, Yohji's business took a major hit. His production costs were too high, and with a debt of over $65 million, he was forced to file for bankruptcy in 2009. And that didn't stop him. Yohji restructured, yet kept his creative freedom and expanded into new markets. Yohji Yamamoto pour Homme, which was a menswear line. Wise, his original ready-to-wear line. And Y3, a groundbreaking streetwear collaboration with Adidas. But in 2022, tragedy struck with Irene Silvani's passing. While he never officially replaced her, her influence is still felt in every campaign, every runway show, and every quiet act of rebellion in each of his designs. And today, Yohji is still here, and his impact on fashion is undeniable. He paved the way for deconstruction, dark avant-garde fashion, gender-fluid tailoring, and the fusion of streetwear and high fashion. In a world of fast fashion and endless trends, Yohji remains untouched. He's not just a designer, he's a poet, a storyteller, and a master of the unfinished. And that is why Yohji will never go out of style.